maybe you were showing a different moment in time or a parallel moment in time. So those are the things that our poor little minds, have trouble wrapping around, and those are bigger concepts.
Yeah, I guess as soon as you say that, though, then I do feel like, boy, we can have a slippage of reality in terms of trying to walk in our integrity as soon as we say, well, I was doing this remote viewing, and, I must have been remote viewing something else that wasn't this time. I mean, you may be right, but to the effort of trying to have integrity and verification, know when we are actually doing it or when we are in our imaginative realm, that's not about reality but about what we create in our mind. The remote viewing people, they talk about how you can interfere with the actual process of remote viewing by your mind being active or having expectations, which is exactly what you were saying before, is like you empty yourself of expectations. So
right, and I think that's what anybody who's listening in needs to know, that they need to not only focus on what they want to create with that moment or tune into that moment, but all the different ways that they can receive that information instead of being stuck on, I can only receive it in one way.
Oh, got
to
it.
be more open, more aware of what actually is happening around them. Does that make sense?
Yes. Here again, we have this huge, like, satellite radar receptor that says, okay, I have all these sensors out there. I don't know which one you're going to choose to communicate me on. I'm going to activate all of them again. It's like, okay, let's not stick to one radio signal or channel. Let's, like, open up all the vehicles we possibly can to receive.
Right.
Are you ready to read?
I just did. That was a reading, my friend.
I lost it. Oh, dear. Oh, that's interesting. Did it feel different to you, or?
It feels, actually, physically, I stood up, my chest went up, and I was filled with information. So, which is different than I was sitting down talking to you. And then all of a sudden, now that you're asking, I physically got up and expanded my body.
Wow.
And this information started coming forward. Let me see if there's more.
Oh, she's doing it, folks. She's listening to the process that she gets into.
So, and we've talked about this before maybe, but if you're praying and you're praying to God, or God of your understanding, or all the gods, however that is for you.
Okay.
You have to, as you're doing that, you have to imagine that there's a God there, because probably God's not sitting right in front of you having tea. So I think if we're moving from this place of faith, that we say our prayer, there's somebody listening. That we have to extend that faith to all these areas of communication, of the type of communication that's beyond our 5 physical senses. So if you have faith in that process, how can you not have faith in all the rest of it? Because it's all the same thing, the same mechanism.
Okay, so my process is, and I'm thinking about the book called The Biology of Beliefs and all the associated research on that the power of our beliefs can make it so, because the belief itself creates a conversion. That's on a biological level. So you're saying that on an energetic level, the power of our belief can make it so as well, because our belief creates a coalescence of the energy.
And not can, but does every single time.
Oh, wow. So again, that idea that, be careful what you think. Be careful what you ask for. Be careful what
you wish for. Be careful what you wish for, you might get it. Yeah. And we probably all have that experience where we were desiring some information. What does this mean in my life? How do I interpret that? And then all of a sudden, you have a book in your hands, and it opens to a paragraph that has, the book has nothing to do with what you're thinking about, but somehow that paragraph sums it up for you in a way that's very understandable. There's a communication process happening. Your prayer's been answered. But we don't always see those things as being related to that act of faith, that we even have access to this realm of information. If we don't get the answer right at that moment, we think the answer's not coming, and then boom, all of a sudden it comes from this very bizarre place. Well, we received our answer. So staying out of how it's supposed to manifest is I guess, the most important thing. Kind of like you asking me, so what was the experience like for all these people? Well, I'm going to stay out of that. That does, if I want to know that, if I need to know that, I will get to know that. They'll either call or I'll hear from somebody else, But
well,
if
actually,
I expect that they're all going to come to me after class and say, this is how you changed my life, then I'm going to be disappointed.
It's like you did get feedback, though. The owner called you the next day, or the individual called you the next day and said, I've gotten so many phone calls about yesterday.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. She called me the next morning. And this is a person who's very involved with this type of thing and has been around a lot of it. So it helped my self-confidence that she called and said, it was right up there with, all the best that she's seen, and made me feel more real. Not that I don't feel real, but, that critical part of myself always questions, is this real? Just like any human being does. And so for me, to get that kind of feedback was pretty, it helped. It just helped me be stronger in who I am, I guess.
Yes.
Who I am and what I do, and it's important at the same time.
That you take this moment to kind of go into your own self-reflective insecurity, I think is so valuable for people because, number one, that's your integrity. Number two, it's your growing, expanding identity of yourself as this human being that was born as a little baby and was raised in a family as a child, and we are made to feel like we don't know much and we're awkward and we have to grow up, and who makes us think that we know what we're talking about, et cetera, et cetera. So we get this identity of having to be wisely humble because we are ignorant, and at the same time overly identified with it as well as we expand and say, okay, I want to be my expanded self, knowing that in integrity I'm not that expanded and not as expanded as I want to be, not as expanded as my expanded self is. But if I walking in my own limitations or my own small self-identity, I don't even get to play with my expanded self and have that joy because I'm squishing her and holding her into this small, tiny box, and what she wants to do is play and be as big and limitless as you described at the beginning of the show, that we are limitless packages of energy. What was your phrase?
We are beings with no limits. No limits to who we are, what we can create, what we can experience. We're just completely unlimited in that state.
Wow.
And manifesting in a limited human state is unlimited also, if you think about it.
Wow.
That as an unlimited being, you can manifest even in limited ways just to have that experience, to know what that means. And
Mary, we have no right to be limited then. We have no right to walk around and say, I just can't. Uh-oh.
Well, if we didn't do that, what would be the purpose of being in a human body? Because, being a human being and walking through our perceived limitations and growing out of those and embracing this unlimited part of ourselves. I was working with a client, a week or two ago, and the visual I got was she was this huge, magnificent energy her human self would turn around to that energy of herself and take some of that energy a cup at a time to experience. And what Spirit was asking her was, I'm right behind, I am you, I am right behind you. I just want you to back up just a few inches so that you can be 100% your energy instead of turning around and taking a cup full at a time. But I think she had to get to that point in her life. I think that taking a cupful at a time serves us as human beings until we get to a point where we can start taking bucketfuls and then, swimming pools full. So yes and no. I mean, as human beings, we're limited and we don't need to be. And yet the learning of that is so powerful. It's a powerful process all on its own that even creates more energy.
So Mary, do you hear yourself say this in contrast to the other side of you that says, I'm just new at this, I don't know what I'm doing, this is kind of awkward, and then you hear this other side of you that says, I am this. I can take this whole swimming pool of a Saturday experience and I can walk with it, swishing around me because it is all of who I am, and I'm beyond that.
Yes, I hear myself saying that. And my human side is going, cool. and at the same time going, oh boy, I don't know.
Well, listeners, we hope that this honest dialogue between Mary and I about it being expanded has helped you really step outside your comfort zone. You may think us crazy, but why don't you walk into your own craziness for a little bit and see what realities dwell there, and let's all be in our biggest self. The more of ourselves than we let ourselves know, so that we can help each other, love each other, create. Not live in the frustrations of feeling like we're small, but living in the ability to really help this whole planet evolve and expand. Mary, thank you so much for walking us into this path. This is going to happen again, I know. I look forward
Thank you.
to it.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to it.
Good. Awesome. Keep us informed. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day, everyone. Mary, you included.
Thank you, and you too, and everyone out there. Thank you very much for listening in.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.